Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom and thank you for joining me this afternoon in my office. I was doing my afternoon research over there on the computer and came across an article that kind of stung a little bit. The title of it is Chevy Bolt EV and Bolt EUV lose Consumer Reports' recommended rating. Essentially what that means is that Consumer Reports is no longer able to recommend the Bolt EV line of cars, EUV, also to their readers. Now, what does that mean? Well, I for one have never read a single Consumer Reports article, review, or whatever it is that they publish. I know that they're a major influencer for a lot of people. I know personally a lot of individuals that swear by Consumer Reports and they go they make their decisions based on what is published in those publications. And you can read this article, I'll, as always, post it down below, but they're essentially saying that the Bolt EV has a rather poor reliability rating and they gave it a 2 out of 5, which is much worse than those of the direct rivals like the Niro EV, the Kona EV, and the Nissan Leaf. That's a kick in the gut if you ask me. I mean, we haven't had many issues since the last fire, which I think happened in September. I think it was early September. Did a video on that. And since then, the recall guidelines and GM's notifications to their owners and whatnot have made it clear what we should and shouldn't do during this time. And I don't know about you, but I personally have not had any data come back to me with additional fires, additional property damaged, or whatever you can think of. I keep an eye out for that pretty much daily, several times a day. I have some Google alerts set up, and for keywords that if they come up, I get an email and a notification. But all that aside, I can transparently tell you that I wholeheartedly, as a systems engineer, as a computer professional, somebody who has trained for 22 years in IT and knows a lot about electronics, a lot about systems and computers and just technology on a much wide array, on a very wide array, I can tell you that I fully and wholeheartedly recommend the Bolt EV. I can't speak for the Bolt EUV because, well, that's probably next on my list when that model gets a little bit more mature. What does all this mean? Well, I don't know exactly who Consumer Reports targets their publications to. I do know people, young and old, that swear by it. Some, I had a friend who passed away a few years ago that swore, like, Consumer Reports was his Bible, and everything that he bought, everything that was in his house, had to have some kind of an article or a rating given by Consumer Reports. Okay, fine. If that's what it pleases the mind, then so be it. As far as I go, I've owned this car for a year now. In fact, we're in our second year now together, and I trust the car wholeheartedly. Its performance is fantastic. I have a hard time driving an ICE vehicle just because of the lack of power, the way the transmission shifts. There's a lot of cons now for me to get into a normal standard car, and I've had tons of cars in my life. I think this is ultimately my 9th car, and it's my first brand new car. It's the first one that I actually went to a dealership to buy, and I've had nothing but raving experiences with it. Everything from mountains to long distance road trips to very fast and reliable DC fast charging sessions along the freeways. God, business, personal, chores, errands, taking my kid to school, doing father-son things with my kid, just random stuff like, hey, let's go. Even with a almost dead battery, we can still get around. You know, the bottom line of anything is that you have to educate yourself as an individual. You know, I'm not here to sway you one way or the other. I'm here to present you with, you know, here's an article. Here's what's interesting about it. Go read it down below and make your own decisions. You know, if you believe in Consumer Reports and how they do things, then, you know, God bless you. Otherwise, you know, we move on. I don't think that this rating really matters one way or the other. Like I said, I've never read a single thing in Consumer Reports. In fact, I didn't even know what their website looked like until I looked it up earlier today. That said, I'm of the belief that if you educate yourself to a point where you're comfortable with a specific topic, whatever that is, whether it's technology, whether it's cars, whether it's computers, or just whatever your topic of interest is, you have the opportunity as an adult to go get educated on that topic. And I'm not talking about, you know, a one-sided type of, you know, quickly read a Google article and take it for what it is. No. Read more than one and then formulate a general opinion about a topic. So, you know, if you watch my videos and you see me talking about this article here, and then you go and, you know, talk to a dealer, talk to a friend who owns Bolt EV, or you have a family member that, you know, has their general opinions about this car. You know, you take that and you decide what's right for you. If you think that this 2 out of 5 reliability rating from Consumer Reports is accurate and appropriate for you, then great. For me, this is a flat out lie. This car has been nothing but reliable from the day I drove it off the lot. I have never had problems with it. I think the only issue I had is that the last service that I took the car in, which was the first 7,500 mile service that I did at 10,000 miles, because why not? They let some of the air out of my tires. That was the only issue I had with the Chevy dealer. And guess what? I pulled out my pancake compressor, and within 15 minutes, I had all 4 tires at the same exact air pressure that I like to have them at, which is between 39 and 40 pounds cold, in case you're wondering. Anything other than that, and hey, on a side note, just to kind of fill in this bit of, you know, opinion that I have here, I'm very transparent with you guys about, you know, things I come across, you know, products that I use and whatnot. I share my pros, my cons, and I let you guys decide what's best for you. With all that said, I had a good friend that I worked with recently that saw my car, and he had a Volt, a Chevy Volt with a V. And he said he was starting to have problems with it, and I think he needed a new battery and whatnot. And, you know, a Volt is essentially a hybrid, right? It's got a ICE and it's got an EV motor in it. And hybrids never made sense to me, so I'm not going to get into that. But what came from that conversation was essentially, well, he was interested. He didn't know what to think of it. He was in the market for a new vehicle, and I told him, well, hey, listen, how about this? How about I shoot a video and I show you the inside of the car, and I'll point out pros, cons, whatever. I think the video was 22 minutes long, and I sent that to him, And I didn't publish that video on YouTube because this was before my time of doing Bolt EV videos. I was doing just IT stuff previously, and there came a point in time when I shifted over to the recall and the Bolt EV specifically, and you guys have been great. But anyway, he took that video and he used that information to formulate a decision to pull the trigger on buying the EV. Now, a month or two after he purchased the Bolt EV, he learned of the recall. Of course he was sad, he was bummed, you know, that's natural. But he asked me how I felt about it. And just like with you guys, I said, no problems for me. You know, I drive this car like a madman sometimes. Half the time I feel in my mind that 160 kilowatts is just not enough to get off the line. And the 92 mile per hour limit on the speedometer is just rude, if you ask me. But with the way I drive my car, that car has always responded with, hey, let's go, let's go. That car has never, you know, flipped out. It's never caused me problems. And I'm sure that the cars that burn down through the battery fires, they may not have had any problems either until those problems happen. You know, this goes back to the video that I shot earlier with regards to, you know, this tablet and the Torque Pro software. The more information you can get out of the car, the more you know its personality. You know, it's like getting to know somebody. If you meet somebody in a bar and you talk to them for an hour, how well do you really know that that person or that individual? Whereas, you know, if you drive a car and you only use the information that GM gives you with the gauges, well, I think that's only like 5% of what the car actually generates in terms of data. You know, using a tool like, you know, like this tablet and Torque Pro and being able to create something that looks like, you know, like that, which if you're interested in this, go find the video that I uploaded earlier today. This gives you a way more information, a much greater detail of what your car's doing than anything that's in the gauge cluster or on the center display. This to me is an absolute requirement when dealing with a car that has a recall under its name, battery related issues, fires, you know, and various other considerations that have to be met. You know, charging cycles have to be specific, charging levels have to be specific, distance, how much is left to go, etc., etc. I feel personally like the car is very reliable. I feel that I never think twice about just jumping in and going, even if the battery is a little bit low. Like, I'll be honest with you, I charge it up to 100% when I need to. I drop it down below 70 miles of range when I need to. Otherwise, I maintain the bounds of the recall until I get the battery replacement and the software update. You know, all that said, I think personally this article is just a shame. I don't think it was necessary. Every manufacturer goes through a recall. Tesla's done it. You know, every manufacturer that I can think of. Honda's had them. Remember the exploding airbags? Yeah. I don't recall ever reading an article about Consumer Reports not recommending Hondas anymore. Toyota's had recalls. It is what it is, folks. I'm gonna leave it off there, but I hope you have a great afternoon, rest of your day, and until next time, thank you for watching.